everybody. Welcome to Quality Sewing and Vacuum Facebook Live for Sew Fun. Yay! Today we have Andrea
and Iola.
Yay! I wanted to introduce you all to Iola. She is brand new to the Sew Fun team, and I'm so excited to have you on our team, Iola.
Thank you.
She's had some rave reviews, so I'm excited for you to hear from her today. Okay, so if you are new to Sew Fun Live, we do have 10 stores in the Seattle area with 30 in-person classes, and you can come and enjoy our camaraderie. It's prizes, there's snacks, there's all kinds of learning and tutorials of how to do all these cool things behind us, and you get awesome ideas. Also, when you become a Sew Fun member, right now, it's usually $69.99 for a full year membership where you get to come to all the classes for free. And you get 20% off, not only at Quality Sewing and Vacuum on notions and fabric, but you can also get it at some coordinating ones. And we're going to talk about that today, right?
We are.
So, right now it's only $49.99 to become a member for the rest of the year, and you enjoy all the same benefits.
And I guarantee you'll benefit.
Yes. It's so awesome. So, if you've never been in live here in an actual store, we'd love to have you in. With that, today, all the products that we are going to be showing you will be on sale for one whole week. But since next week falls on the 4th of July, we are going to say it's going to be the 5th of July that these will be open for. So, hello Sharon, good to see you today. Anyways, shall we get started?
Let's go for it.
Okay.
And I think we should start with the totes, the wireframe tote.
Okay, let's do this.
That we brought in. So Andrea's going to grab hers really quick, and she can talk a little bit about what she did because she followed the pattern pretty precisely.
I'm not as much of a bag guru as you are, Iola. Okay, this was such a fun bag to make. I used some vintage Mary Inglebright fabric because I've been a fan since I was a little girl. But this is a large frame right here. I love how open and wide it is. Right here, ooh, look at how big that is. And you have an inner pocket right here. And in the front, you have a little mesh pocket as well. And I loved my little cherries, so that's why I put the mesh in the front so you can still see the cherries, but have a cool handy pocket. When you buy the wireframe, sorry.
It's okay.
I guess that's all. I was going to talk about the little tag.
Oh, go for it.
It comes with a little tag.
It's very cute. So, Andrea did the large, and I did the medium. The difference is about 1.5 inches, 2 inches lengthwise, and 1 inch, that helps, sidewise, widthwise. So anyway, I did it sort of differently. I got my fabric from here at the store, and it just came in recently, and I thought it was so much fun with the different colors that I went with the lighter fabric on the outside, and then on the inside, I did both fabric pockets in a complementary color, and then I went for the mesh on the other side. So one of the things that's really cool about this is that you can completely customize it, choose different fabrics to put on either side, and then one of the things that I did a little differently than Andrea is I know I get really tempted to carry a lot of heavy things, and so I went ahead and did some webbing and covered it with the matching fabric. So I will show you how I did that. But while we're just talking about the ingredients that made this up, we brought in this Bosal double-sided fusible. They have it in, not branded for this, but this was specifically a cross promotion with the wireframe totes. So one of these rolls will do a large one or 1.5 if you do a medium. But it's a great value, and so we've got that puppy. Then One of my commitments for this year is that I am not going to make my stash bigger. I'm going to make it smaller as we go. So when I realized that I just had done a little bit of pocketing with our fabric mesh, I thought, okay, what can we do with the rest of it? And Andrea came up with some ingenious ideas. So one of them was this little scrubby scrunchie that basically she just sewed together and then had a loop with some rubber, and that was really fun. And then she is a good Costco shopper, as am I. And she got the microfiber towels, went ahead and chose a piece of fabric on the other side and just stitched them together. And we've had tons of people do that. But ideally, that means I'm not going to have drawers full of different color mesh. So with that, going on to the straps, what I did was I took a piece of the inch webbing and I took my fabric in the matching color, and this was super quick and dirty, but basically I just put that in, folded it over, and stitched my 1/4 inch right down the line, knowing that then I was going to be able to turn it really easily and insert the strapping or webbing. So just to introduce you to the Stitchy sticks, this is them, and on the back you can see really quickly the different types of points and such that they have. But where these guys are super cool, and Andrea is going to show you some of the features, but I'm going to start with one of my favorites, which was the tube turner. So pretty much I have I've now stitched that webbing, and you'll notice that it's going to be the perfect size with a little bit of looseness, and I didn't have to do any additional stitching when I put it on that tote, and there's only one intersection thing. But one of the things about these Stitchy sticks that I thought made them magic is just how well this turner works. So I just slide it in, and I've got to tell you, while this is a small piece of fabric demo-wise, I did 2 bags worth, so miles of it, and I just can't tell you how well it worked. So from here you have this blunt ball tip, and you use that to just go ahead and push the fabric in, and then all I do from here, and like I said, I did miles of this, so it doesn't have to all make it on the tube, and just push through. But I think it's because this is metal and coated. I have now given away some of my other tube turners, but from here comes the magic. It just, poof, out the other side. No rabbit, but nevertheless, and then we're back to where I started out, obviously, because I'm turning it. But anyway, that was one of the really cool features of the Stitchy stick, and I'm going to turn it over to Andrea now, who will continue to show you some of the cool things of this Stitchy stick set.
All right. First I'm going to, we'll get to the Stitchy sticks in a second, but what I wanted to talk about are these pattern that we brought in right here. I'm going to bring it right up to the front so we can see here. This is the Burnside bib pants. They are so cute. We've had such a great success with these guys. You have the first pattern, our regular standard size, I guess is what it is, 0 to 20 on this gray, the girl that's wearing gray, and then the green ones are the curvy sizes from 18 to 34. On the back, you'll see that there are many different ways to make this pant. It is actually really, really fun. You have a beginner, like if you're new to sewing, it's going to be a simple, easy, I'm going to put one down so we can look at this. First version number 2 is just you just pull on the pants and you tie the little straps, and that is as easy as it gets with version number 2. Version number 1 is if you want to have a little more challenge, you want a little more fitted, a little more tailoring. This one has a zipper, an invisible zipper on the side. It has 2 little pleats in the back and extra pockets in the back. It comes in 2 different lengths, cropped and long. We made like 4 different versions of these, so no 2 of our 4 Burnside bibs are the same that we made. We are going to go over there to the other side, and I'm going to show you some of the samples that we made. We're going to come over here. All right, let me pull these in a little bit. Okay, I am wearing a pair right here. These are the more tailored pair here, and I made them with the different pockets. So you could see the pockets back here, the pockets in the front, and you can get a good idea of how it goes through the little belt loops, gathers in the back for more of a like a paper
Fitted
bag look. When you pull it up here, it's all gathered in the back, so you don't have a bunch of gathering in the front. It just looks nice and smooth in the front, and then all the gathering is in the back right here. So like I said, this one is a little bit more of a tailored look to it, but if I just release this, because you can wear it many different ways. If I wanted to, I could just release the sides like this and tie it right here, and then it's just nice and loose and cozy like this. If I've eaten a little too much ice cream the day before, so they're super cute. We have this one right here. I'm not sure if you can see it very well, but I tied it on either side right here to showcase how you can wear this open. This one has no zipper on the side, there's no darts, there's no back pockets, and it's just the simple version that you can whip together really fast, which is really awesome. So it looks the same, whether you've got the zipper and the darts and the back pockets in there, or you've got none of it. You just pull them up, they will look the same. All right, hold on. I'm gonna put myself back together and tie it.
While you're doing that, so the middle set are mine. And I have to say, if you notice and count, Andrea made 3, I made 1. Because I haven't been sewing that long, and I can vouch for the fact that the pattern is very friendly. So I did these linen pants, and one of the fun things Andrea and I did was we went to Pacific Fabric, and as a Sew Fun member, you'll get 20% off there for any of your shopping. But I went with linen, and I went with this just very neutral color so that if I didn't line up my flowers or anything like that, I absolutely passed. I can do an invisible zipper, but I went Y. And honestly, they look, I mean, I get tons of compliments for wearing them, so that was really fun.
Yeah, so Iola's version here and my pant version here are the same in the fact that they're just the pull up and pull the string. Mine are short and hers are long. And then these ones, I made this with a cotton linen blend here, and so it's like a thicker bottom weight. I wanted to make these ones more for the fall. These ones are long, but I also did put a zipper and the darts in the back because it was a thicker fabric and I didn't want to have to pull that much of the fabric in with it. But I hope you love these too. Even though these are the same, let's see, the neckline on this is scooped right here, instead of it just being straight across like my green ones right here.
And you have the back pockets.
Yeah, I have the back pockets here, and I do have the back pockets in here too because I like pockets. Okay, we're gonna hop over to the machine.
Can you pass me the fabric guide?
Oh yeah.
Before
while I'm setting up, why don't you go over and talk about the fabric guide, and I will get set up.
That sounds perfect. So one of the things when we were at Pacific Fabric that I really appreciated was we were talking about areas I need to grow. I've only been sewing for 2 years, and that's actually my first official garment in something more sophisticated than, you know, just really inexpensive fabric. I mean, I did a sweatshirt and some loose fitting pants. But anyway, we got talking about the different types of fabric, and Andrea said, I've got the solution for this. So we brought in this Common Fabrics sewing guide. And it's a cute little pocket guide, but the best part of it is basically, I don't know whether if I hold it up, you can basically, it covers both the kinds of fibers in fabric, whether it's natural or synthetic, the structure, whether it's weave or woven, which for me, I've learned a lot about using the right kind of needle for stuff, but this helped me when you look at a given fabric. Let's find, one here like cashmere, it gives you those properties so you can better match up your threads and your needles for sewing with it. So I thought it was an awesome addition to my toolkit.
Absolutely. And if you want to, in that little book, as you start sampling with fabrics and things, if you wanted to take like a little tiny swatch and do double-sided tape or just staple it in there, you can. So you can actually start creating your own little sample book. So that'll be super handy when going to the store or maybe ordering apparel fabric online. So we're going to head back here to the Stitchy sticks. We don't need the tube turner right now, but Carmen tried on a pair of the pants that I made, and she said she really wanted a pair, and it was just her birthday, so don't tell her, but we are making her a pair of pants. So she loves gray and black and white, and I thought this was going to be so perfect. I wanted to show you a shortcut on how to turn the edges. This is the front pocket here, and this is the back pocket right here. And I'm going to show you some tricks on how to do these pockets just a little bit easier and with some of these little stitchy sticks. Now, on the stick part, there's a lovely stiletto right here, and this one is a finger turner, I think. I'm not really sure what it is, but I love it. It's flatter, like they came and sheared off the end of the stitchy stick, so it's got a little more of a skinny finger to it. Here, we talked about the blunt ball. Here, you can use this for finger pressing. But it will also work for stuffing like little animals. Not to give away anything, but we might have a really cool stuffed dragon pattern coming in next month. So this would be good for stuffing things. But this right here, this is a little spatula, and this was actually one of my very favorite tools of all the little ends. I really am loving this. You can use it for your scan and cut, your sticky mats, to pick off the vinyl and the paper, whatever you cut, your fabric. You can also use it to score things, like you can turn it over and score the sticky back backing that goes in your embroidery hoop. But I love this for ironing, and I'm going to show you how to do it. All right, so in the pattern, they call for you doing a basting stitch around this curve right here, and then gathering it, and then ironing it, and then taking the basting out again. But I don't like taking out any stitching if I don't have to. So I'm going to teach you a trick of how to do this lickety-split fast. Now, I took the edges. I'm a big fan of finishing up all the edges of my garment. One of the rules of thumb is that you need to have the inside of your garment as nice as the outside of your garment. So I took this through the serger, and I serged this raw edge here, and you can see this raw edge is also serged. And you know what's cool about the serger is it's 1/4 of an inch, and that's what they call for. They call for you to turn this raw edge 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to start down here at this end, and with my cool spatula end, and move this over just a wee bit more. I'm going to start where with the heart shape, the wider shape down here, and I'm going to point the tip towards the iron, and it's going to give me some really amazing. Let's see if I'm wondering how I can do this so you can see it a little bit better. Can you see that? All right. I love how long these stitchy sticks are too. They're so cool. I'm doing it kind of a weird angle. So when you cut your fabric on the bias, you can either stretch the fabric or contract the fabric. And right now, what I'm doing is the little stitchy stick is guiding the fabric underneath my iron right here, and it is contracting the fabric so it will turn beautifully. And because I have already serged it, the fabric knows exactly where to turn. Look at that gloriousness. Yes! Check that out. So you can iron the rest of the way, but when you flip it over, look at that beautiful curve. You're going to get a perfect turn every time. And because I guided the fabric right underneath the iron as I went, it just perfectly flattened because it was on the bias. Yes, love that stitchy stitch. Okay, we're going to set that aside. This has the same idea. This is the top of the pocket. This is the little corner bottom. This is the top. Really quickly, I serged the top right here. I'm going to flip this again with my little tool here. This one will go a lot faster because it's just straight across. Let's see if I can hold this up high enough so you can see. We're just guiding that right in there. Love it. And I've used some little, more like silicone type turners, and those are great every once in a while, but they don't slide along your fabric like the metal does. I really love how the metal just slides right along there. Okay, so we turned that edge right there. And in order to make this pocket, you notice how I only serged one edge right here, right? I'm going to turn this over and let's see. I'm going to eyeball this, and whatever I do this at, I'm going to make the next one, the other pocket, the same way. Okay, that looks like about 1.5 inches. So we're going to iron that right there. That looks good, right? 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. Okay, I'm just going to give that a little iron, a little press right there. I'm going to move this over here, and maybe Iola can help me turn it off and find a good spot for it. Okay, now we're going to come over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to show you how to sew this little guy so you get these awesome, perfect edges, corners. We're going to turn it on. I'm going to see if I have my tie-ons activated. I want to tie at the beginning, the end, and cut my thread. I am going to use my stitchy stick right here, and I really love the finger part because we can really get it under there. And I'm going to stitch it at 1/4 inch. And about a stitch away from the end, I press my little button that activates the tie off and the cutting, right like so. I'm going to flip it over to the other side. We're going to do the same thing. This little end, it got cut wonky because it's woven. So this little end is out there, but I'm going to go along the regular edge right here. We're going to ignore that piece, if you were wondering about that. Okay, down 1/4 inch, a stitch away. One thing else that I really love about these metal tools is they're all metal. The entire thing is metal. It's just one solid piece. Sometimes you can get tools that have metal ends, but then their handles are plastic or wooden, and so the chances of them separating from each other are much greater than if they were just one solid piece like this. Okay, we're going to flip this over, And we've got our little flaps that are 1/4 of an inch right there. I'm going to tuck my thumb right into that corner. Use my finger. I'm going to fold it right behind so I get a perfect little corner right like that. I'm going to flip from my thumb to my forefinger. Right like so. I'm going to do it with the other side. Fold the flap back so you get a perfect corner. Fold from my thumb to my forefinger. And then I'm going to use that little finger tool. And I'm going to kind of dig out that corner just like so and flatten out that other piece. I'm not going to trim those corners because having that solid piece behind will only make this corner sharper right here. Make it nice and sharp. Okay, and just like that, we have turned it. Let's go over to the zoom in camera right here really quickly, and I will show you how you can finish this up. Oh, you know, before you turn it, remember how I said I only searched the very top right there? At this point, before I flip the top, then you want to go and serge all of your edges, then flip it, and then iron it. Iron your serged edges over, and voila, your back pocket is good to go. All right, Iola, what are we moving on to next?
Perfect. So the next thing we brought in was the boxed bag template, and I will hand these over to you, Andrea, to put on the thing. So, and actually we can even put the template itself. But anyway, I'll be honest, when Andrea said, oh, I picked this, and you know, we're going to actually have classes that showcase this, I went, okay. And then she said the word ice cream, and I was all in. So basically, I want you all to know I sacrificed a great deal. I went ahead and cleared out a few pints so we could have them on, you know, the store tour. But anyway, what's cool about this tool is basically when you cut, it protects the area that is your project. And let me pull out a sample. So actually with the ice cream cozy. So now looking at this pattern, actually I'll hold it up. The first thing you're going to do is cut out a square on the edges like so, and then you're going to come back in to do a taper. So if I were to show you any of these that are done, you'll see that there's a nice little, it goes straight down and then tapers in, or I have one that's partially done. I decided that these colors looked like sherbet, so this will be one, but basically you can see that it goes at an angle and an angle. So if we were to make a cut and show off, where's our rotary cutter?
Oh, a good one.
Otherwise I will mimic cutting with the rotary cutter because I'm that talented. I also do sock puppets. But one of the other important things to know is one of the reasons you want to make these is because when you put the ice cream in the cozy, it reduces the number of calories. So you no longer have to get a bowl. Glad I got a laugh from in studio. But anyway, it's a very important fact. So you don't have to take this and split it up in bowls. You just go ahead and bring it to the couch or wherever and enjoy it. So another important thing before I do my cutting is we put in Insulbright. So it keeps it nice and cold and makes it, last while you're enjoying it. So the other fun thing we learned about the Insulbright is that for all those RFID chip readers, if you want protection, you can go on Amazon, and for a medium sum, you can get yards of the RFID chip protector. But you can even take, as we cut one of these, the little pieces we do and put them in your wallet, and they will do the job just as well, and you'll have a lot less stash, which, as I said before, I'm trying to fight against. So with the box bag template, the pattern calls for cutting it at 3.5. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to diligently try and make sure I'm all lined up. That one's a little bit longer. I'm going to go for this size where I think it's a little more squared. But I put it down and I go to the edge at 3.5, the edge here at 3.5, which is nicely marked. And like I said, this is my main fabric, and some of the rulers that I've used in the past are like a frame that you're cutting on the inside, and my great fear is that I'm going to go swoosh into my project, and if it's embroidered or anything like that, I'm going to be a very unhappy camper. So I loved this, but basically you just take your rotary cutter and you go right into the little ear here. Same with here, and then we will see how well we did as far as going, because usually it likes to embarrass me with one little strand that will hold on. So get that there, and usually, yep, one little thread always holds out on that one. Now it calls for us to do the triangle in at 1.5. So pretty much there, I'll go 1.5 and 1.5. And actually, if I folded this, I'll know I'm on the 45 as far as that goes. But super cool. And like I said, all the stores next month will be having classes on this. I don't know that they'll be providing free ice cream, but they will definitely help you out as far as this goes. And I didn't quite get there. And same with there. And this is a 45mm rotary cutter. But there you can see that one did just beautifully. And so now we've got that cut. And then we would, after we do all four, we're going to just put them together like so and just do a stitch up. And I will show you on one. Oh, there's sherbet. So I thought this looked a lot like sherbet. And I have a 4-year-old friend who is obsessed with ice cream. But here you can see where we did 2 of the sides. And then all we're going to end up doing is popping this out and doing, after those 2 are done, and then we're going to do the same thing with the inside and then turn them. So easy peasy, as we like to say.
Yeah. Should I talk about how I made mine, what I originally intended mine for?
Yes.
Really quickly. So I picked this is my first pattern for the month of June that I picked out in like January. And I chose it because I thought it would make such a cute gift. So I actually went to Baskin Robbins. Which way is it going? There we go. I went to Baskin Robbins and I got an empty one inside, and I put a gift card inside and some little candies and some little fun trinket things inside that empty jar. And then I put it inside my ice cream cozy and I wrapped it all up and I gave it to my husband for Valentine's Day so we could go out on a hot date to go get ice cream together. But wouldn't this be so fun to give to like as a birthday present, or if your friend is feeling blue or whatever, you can take them over a little gift. And it uses scraps. Did you find that you used a bunch of your scraps?
I did use a bunch of my scraps. And
my splash fabric, because I put splash fabric. We got new purple splash fabric.
Lupine is what they call it. But yes, it is a lovely purple. And that was one of the really cool things. The other thing to know is you don't have to use the Insulbright. You can use any kind of batting or whatever that you like. But the Insulbright or, the splash fabric, certainly if it's sweat, if the carton is sweaty at all, that's going to keep your hands dry and furniture dry, and you can set it on the table. So anyway, that was one of the very cool first things we brought in as far as the patterns go. And there are there are just a ton. Juliana Moore is who made this template or ruler. And I will also say, I'm somebody that I think I love tools the way other people love shoes. I'm pretty darn fond of them. And I have found just a myriad of ways to use this template. So one of the other patterns we brought in, well, actually it comes with a pattern for a very basic bag with a boxed corner that's very nicely done. But then we also did the pleated pin cushions, which I thought were kind of a kick. And I, of course, liked the idea, you know, watermelon, again, fruit, low calorie, minimizes the impact of ice cream. But, you know, I sort of did that, and I love my dogs a lot, so I have lots of dog paw print type fabric, and Andrea did hers with this really cool floral.
It's vintage.
It's very fun. Cool. And I ended up stuffing mine with walnut shells so that when I had the pins in here, that would actually sharpen and help them out. If you need walnut shell, ground walnut shell, I discovered that pet stores are who have it, not Michael's or Joann's or any place else, or Amazon. So go figure.
Go figure.
So
I used poly pellets in mine because I had some.
Yep. And you could do rice, you could do any number of things. I mean, there's no right answer. We also brought in this little cell phone stand. And so we did two different variations. Mine's a little stiffer, but basically your phone just sits horizontal in it. And you can, and Andrea nicely said.
Not a phone.
And, oh, there we go. Here's a phone.
Here's a phone.
And it just sets in there that way. So you can actually just pop that in your pocket and have it when you travel.
And you can charge it too. When it's sideways, you can plug it in, which is really cool. But yeah, it just kind of folds up and it's small and you can stick it in it's travel size too. We love that.
So the other thing, just as we're going back and I can show it off just using this, one of the other things this ruler has is this nice curve here. So a lot of times you can line up the side here, it's straight and straight, and then you can just cut your curve really nicely. And again, here's your main project. So if you slip off or do anything, you're not going to end up ruining whatever the project is. You can just do another cut. So I found this just a great little ruler, and some of the store teachers have been using it, and they're also pretty crazy about it. So I would say it's a great investment, even if you don't eat ice cream. But if you do. So that was that. Then the last pattern we brought in related to it was what was called the diamond tool tote. And actually, I'll just pull that out and it can sit there. And Andrea, would you like to show off yours?
Oh, yes. Here they are.
So what's fun with these, and it also brings up that we brought in these cute little tags. One says quilting is my superpower, the daisies, and then these ones that are notions with a ruler, a sewing machine, cutter, and I can't remember what, thread spool was the last of them, but they're super, super cool. And so Andrea actually, since this is a tool tote.
There he is. He was finding it right here.
Oh, okay.
This one says, quilting is my superpower, right here on the edge of my bag. And this is going to be my to-go quilting bag.
Yeah. And then inside, Andrea went ahead and used some of that mesh we brought in. And we brought it in red, white, and blue, feeling rather patriotic. And yellow, which was just awesome. But here, when she did the mesh bags, she made the labels so her rulers and such will go on one side, her cutters in the other. But they also serve really well to just pull things open. And speaking of that, let's see if I have my sample. I'll bet you it's behind. Maybe on the floor. But anyway, I replaced on a number of these sheets that I got really inexpensively.
You forgot about
this little black. I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I had I went ahead and put quilting is my superpower on my little instruction sheets. But yeah, here, having done probably bag making is the thing I've focused on the most recently, and I really like having a tab to hold on to when I open and close my bags. So I went ahead and put the daisy there, and my handle on the other side, so I always had something to hold when I pulled it. So that was kind of cool. This one, I did not put any mesh in. I just went with the basic lining. And again, the patterns are very easy to follow, which I can attest to since I'm the ultimate pattern tester in terms of learning. And on this, the only challenge was in doing the diamonds, which, Andrea, do you want to speak to this as far as how we did these?
Absolutely.
So shifting back to Andrea.
Okay, we're gonna switch spots right here. We brought in tons of projects that are super simple that you can accomplish that look like you spent a lot of time on them. So if you can sew strips of fabric together, you can sew this together. At the very top, it has you just put them off about 1/4 of an inch from each other at kind of an angle. You sew those strips together, and then you cut those strips at a 45-degree angle. You shift them so they all align up. The colors will line up across like this as diamonds, and then you stitch those strips together. So if you can sew strips together, cut them, shift them, and sew them back together again, you can make this tote. It is so simple. But I am going to kind of show you this picture. This is a picture of a little strip, these 2 little pieces here, where there's the wrong side of the fabric here with the right side with the wrong side together. Do you have one of those? Do you have
I have it right here.
Okay.
I have the one we photoed.
This will be so much easier to explain. Hold on. We got the actual pieces here.
And it's lined up.
And it's lined up, but I just unaligned it. So we sewed our strips together like this. You shift them like this. Whoop, and they're aligned up here, right? And then you're going to take the one side and fold it over. So it's 2 right sides together. And here's where the stitchy sticks come in again that are over there in the bag. Okay, so we're just going to keep going with it. The stitchy stick handles, I gave it all, I put it all over there. The handle of the stitchy stick is 1/4 of an inch. And you can see this line here, Iola actually used the stick. Awesome, thank you. She used the stick like this, lined it up, and she used a pencil or a marker, whatever, pen, and marked it right here. And if you see this little triangle right here, and you line it right up there, I'm going to adjust it just a little bit. There, perfect. You make this perfect little triangle right where that 1/4 of an inch is, and then the rest of the points are going to align up all the way down. And it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
It's perfect.
To do that. Okay, one thing that we forgot, Iola, is this tool that we've been using this whole time. We've been using this little grid mat the entire time. And this is actually one of our notions that we brought in. It's the portable OmniGrid mat. This is so fabulous. I went to go visit my mom to go help her heal from surgery. And I brought this with me, and it was so lovely because I was limited on space. And this is tiny. Look at this. You undo the little Velcro right here, and you have a cutting mat and an ironing board right here, right together. I actually even put some of my projects that I was working on that I was in the middle of. I had them stacked up there, and I just closed it like that and Velcroed it, and it was good to go, and I took it with me. So if you don't have one of these to go to like your retreats or classes, or if you RV and blah blah, if you take it, it's just portable. I love it. I love how small and portable this little cutting mat is. So the OmniGrid, you'll love it. All right. Where are we talking about now?
All right.
Oh, we're going to talk about our book.
Oh, let's.
Let's talk about the book. Here, just hand it to me, and we'll bring it right over here.
Yeah.
Am I talking about this?
I can start.
Okay.
And then you can jump in. So anyway, so the book we chose was Rainbow Scrap Quilts. And so as far as that goes, Andrea's going to flip it over so we can see all the different patterns on there.
These are just a few. These aren't all of them in there.
Yeah, there are 20 of them, and they are lovely. And again, I am your ultimate pattern tester. If I can read it, it is easy. And this book was wonderful to work out of. And so I made my first big quilt. And I think, Andrea, this is one of your first big quilts too, as well.
No, but it's a
new
It's a
technique.
new technique for me.
Yep. So anyway, so looking up at here, I'll let Andrea talk a little bit about hers. She chose the circle one. I chose to do the hearts. Do you want to talk about how you did yours as far as?
Yeah, well, one thing I wanted to mention about the book really quickly before I jump up over there is this book has beginner level all the way to expert level. And when they say expert level, they mean expert level. And they just have these amazing quilts in there. So this book will grow with you. If you want to try new techniques, they've got awesome techniques in there to begin and check them out and test them out. But one other word that I really loved about this book is scraps. Iola didn't use many scraps in hers, but I used tons of scraps in mine. And that is one cool thing about this, is that you can use up a bunch of your scraps.
Yes, you can.
Did you want me to talk really quickly about the other quilting techniques in here that are like our diamond tool tote?
Yes,
Okay.
I would love that.
We'll do that really quick, and then we'll jump up and talk about our actual quilts that we made. On this, there's many quilts in there, but these are just a couple on the back. You see these tiny little, it looks like checkerboard here. Look at this crazy one. I think it's called Around the World right here. These ones, these are such cool, like intertwiny stars, snowflake things looking ones. And then these ones right here, those look complicated, but they are not. It's the same idea of the diamond tool tote, where you sew the strips together, you adjust the strips, and then you sew the strips back together. And they come out beautiful. They look super complicated, but they're not. It's just sewing more strips. So, okay, let's go on to our quilts.
Yep. So you can talk about how you quilted yours, and then I'll talk about how I quilted mine.
All right. Well, I based my my colors off of this little border print that I found that I loved the bright, fun colors out of. I did buy one charm pack, which is a 5x5 inch squares, and that's what it required to do all the circles. It's just a bunch of 5x5 inch squares, and it calls for like 60 different colors. And in a charm pack, I got about, 40 out of them. And guess where I got the rest of them, Iola? My other colors?
In your personal stash?
In my, not just my personal stash, but my scrap stash.
Oh.
Because a 5x5 inch square, that's not very much. And I was able to fill it up and use a bunch of scraps. Okay, so we didn't bring in a specific embroidery disc or design. Iola loves technology. She loves our brand new computers and not our computers, our sewing machines and everything that they can do. And so we decided we were going to really encourage you to use what's in your machine, your design software. And if your machine doesn't do what I'm going to explain to you, I know somebody who can hook you up with a machine that will do it. Okay, so I used the Brother Dream machine, and in it, it has my design technology software. And I just basically used an 8x8 inch square. I went into my the My Design software, and this is embroidery quilting. So it just embroidered one block at a time, and it was so easy and so fast. So I went in, I said I need an 8x8 inch square, and it said okay. And then I chose a circle inside the square, and then I clicked on the square and said I went to fill, and I went through all the cool designs that are just inside the software itself. I chose kind of a florally one, so it's kind of a busy background that looks kind of like stippling, and then I really wanted my circles to pop. So when I went to fill my circle right here, I just chose this swirly, and I think it turned out really cool. And what is really neat about the design software and these machines, mine is just a Dream Machine, which is kind of a lower level, but the more they go up, the more designs you have inside your sewing machine. So what it has inside of it is it will scan this area. If I have my 11 by 14 inch hoop around the edges of this, it will scan this whole fabric square first, and then that picture will come up on the screen, and then it will project the design that I chose onto that picture. And if it's not perfectly aligned, it says this is where it's going to start stitching. You can press them up and down, right, left buttons to adjust it so it fits perfectly inside that square. Isn't that cool? It was so easy and so fast to do. It took me like 2.5 hours to quilt this, and it was my first time using that design software inside of the sewing machine. So I did, down at the bottom, I just did some free motion quilting around my little images there, and then on the corners I just embroidered in a little boat and some waves here to kind of keep going with the Seattle theme here. And those images were all inside the Dream Machine. I did it all on my machine.
Yep, so awesome. So it just shows what you can do as far as quilting in the hoop.
Yes, in the hoop.
And since that's something that I was familiar with, I decided that what I wanted to do was go ahead and work on my free motion skills. So with some help, I just came up with just a very easy meandering. I'm also a big fan of batiks, so this was my excuse at Sew Expo to go and frequent one of the Star Designs booth where she does all her own hand quilting. And so that's where these fabrics came from. And like I said, I just had a blast. And Andrea's going to talk a little bit about color, and we'll revisit this quilt and some of the things I learned as it relates to that. But this was, so I went ahead and sewed it all together first, and then did the quilting where Andrea did them block by block and then sewed them together. So very fun. And I'm really happy with mine.
Okay, I am dropping things all over the place here. Hold on. The next item that we are going to talk about are two designs from Shannon Brinkley, and these are Scrappy applique. Right here we have our wild animals. Do you want to hold this one for me?
I'd be happy to.
Okay, you hold it right there. So in the wild animals one that we brought in, there's a bear, a deer, a lion, and a giraffe. And in the U.S. skylines, there's Seattle, New York City, San Francisco, St. Louis, Chicago, and Austin, Texas. So I'm going to talk about this. If you want to start like moving over our Scrappy appliques,
you bet.
So we can look at them a little bit more up close. These are so easy. It's raw edge applique, and it was so fun, so easy to do. A lot of times you can just do this while you are watching a movie. So in the wild animals, there are 3 different sizes of each animal inside of there. There's the bear and the giraffe over here are the big sizes in there. But I'm going to show you the mini size. This is the mini right here of the same giraffe. And inside of there, I don't know if you can see this, but here is the big giraffe's neck, the small and the mini right here. Shannon asks you to get some Misty Fuse because this Misty Fuse is actually a really incredible product. There's like a million things that you can do with it, but we're just going to tell you how she wanted to use it here. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll take that too. So the Misty Fuse, I'm not sure if you can even see that very well. It is literally just glue. It is tons of little strands of fibers of glue that were dried to make this webby, fusible feel. And it is so soft. And on the back, you can tell that it's really fused to your fabric when it has this shine to it right there. Okay, I'm going to give those to you. one other thing that I learned about Misty Fuse is no matter how much you layer it, it will still remain super soft and flexible. There's no extra adhesives to it. It's not going to gum up your needle. And the more heat you use with your fabric that you fuse it to, the more it's going to bond with the fibers of your fabric. So, Iola, would you hand me the freezer paper down there? Oh, is that the Seattle?
Yes.
One?
You want me to just hold it up for you?
Yeah. Yeah, why don't you hold one side and I'll hold the other. Do you want to come over here? Yep. Okay, so this is the actual skyline of Seattle inside the pattern. Isn't that so amazing? It's so cool. I have one gal that's going to cut this out and make a big bench pillow with it. But with these appliques, you can do anything with it. You can see that we made some wall hangings. I put the giraffe on the back of a quilt. And in a moment here, I'm going to show you a tea towel. So the skylines only come in one size, but if you want to make it smaller, you just cut off some of the buildings so you get like the main piece of the...
Or
like
shrink it down.
You can shrink it down, and
Which is what I did.
Iola's going to tell you all about that. But when you put this over, this is some freezer paper, you're going to lay this over your pattern and trace it out like this. And then let's turn it over.
And now we have the shiny waxy side.
Now we have the shiny waxy side. You're going to take a number 2 pencil and you're going to trace over this really well with the number 2 pencil. Then you're going to take your Misty Fuse here. You want to grab one end? Like that. We'll do it the long way. So you can kind of get an idea of this. So you lay down your Misty Fuse over your number 2 pencil that you've used right here. And you're going to give it a good iron with a nonstick sheet over the top of it. And because we were thinking of you, we brought in the giant fiberglass nonstick ironing and craft sheet. And so this isn't as long as this is, but you're going to put it over an area. It will cover about 1/3 of it at a time. You iron it really good. And then move it over all the different sections. You iron it really, really well. And then guess where the number 2 pencil transfers onto? It transfers right onto the Misty Fuse. So you're going to have the skyline on your Misty Fuse now. And then I'll let you take that. So you've got your bear, your skyline on the Misty Fuse. You set it aside. And where did I put my little giraffe? Did I give it to you?
No.
Where did my little thing go?
I don't know.
And I don't know where it went. But okay, so let's say you set your template aside over here of your Seattle skyline. And if you notice my giraffe, Iola, do you want to hold up the skyline of the Seattle skyline?
You betcha, because it's
I'll hold
beautiful.
up this one too. All of these, I just used the scraps from making my circle quilt to make all of these skylines and the giraffe. I just used what I already had. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. So how you're going to do that is you're going to lay down a little section of Misty Fuse and you're going to put all your little scraps of fabric on there. You're going to make yourself a little sandwich of your non-stick. I'll just pull that right out of there. Look at that. You're going to make a little sandwich.
Oh, here's your template. Here's your...
Oh, it's right there. So I'm going to put some Misty Fuse down here. Do you have any of those scraps? Oh, I'm going to grab this piece of fabric right here. Then you're going to put your scraps down all along here. Fill up your space with your scraps. Then you fold over the top and make yourself a little sandwich. You're going to iron that really well. And then all of your little fabric scraps will be fusible now. And you trim them to the size and shape you want. And then you're going to take all those little pieces of scraps that you just fused, and you're going to lay those out over your template and cover all the different spaces. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. If you look at the bear up here, Iola's bear, they're just fabric pieces that are just put all over it. There's really no technique to it. You can be specific if you want, but you don't have to. All right, now that I found my little template thing of my pictures that I made for you, I'm going to put this down here so you can actually see them. All right, there's all my little scrappy pieces that I put over the image of my giraffe. I ironed it really well. And then you peel it off of your nonstick sheet. You can cut it out with a pair of scissors. I was visiting my mom at the time. I didn't have my scan and cut with me, but I had a really nice sharp pair of scissors, and I just cut it out, and voila. There is my little image, and my little giraffe is ready to go. And I can put it on a bag. I can put it on a pillow. I can do anything with my little giraffe now. Okay, and that's kind of the technique that you can use. But I wanted to mention this other Bonash non-stick thing that we brought in. It is the Iron Slide Iron Shoe. It kind of gives new life to your iron. When you put it on, it's not going to scorch your clothes. There's no shine, no burn. You almost don't even need a pressing cloth. If you are using the fusible, I still do suggest that you use the pressing cloth. But like I know with my specialty fabrics, when I'm making like a gown or something, I don't have to use like a silk ironing cloth or a wool pressing cloth with it, because this is amazing. I brought this with me when I was visiting my mom and making my fusibles, and I did notice that it's inevitable. A little glob of the fusible or glue is going to get on a little part of your iron. It just happens. But what I thought it was really cool and I was really fascinated with, I took a little scrap on the little glue that was on there, and it just rolled right off. I just wiped it and it was gone. And it didn't leave any scorches or anything. It has two little drawstring strings on the side of it, so it will fit around any standard size iron. And you can cheaply and easily give new life to your iron. Okay, so that's the Iron Slide shoe.
So really quick, I'll just talk a little bit about what I did with the bear, because Andrea and I did approach this kind of differently, and you know, there's always a myriad of ways to do things. I actually did some things with the Misty Fuse. One of the wonderful qualities of Misty Fuse is that it's not sticky, so that when you put it on the back and you fuse it there, you can easily move it around. If you're doing Scrappy applique and you want it to actually stay in one place, you take the point of your iron and just tap it in the center, and then some of those fingers is what they refer to it as, or, you know, I equate it to a spider's web. It's that delicate, and then you just tap that, and then if you need to move it, you just peel off that one little strand, and it still has more than enough stick. But I did go the freezer paper route, and then used another stabilizer where I put it on the back of all of these, stuck it around. I did do some intentional choices in like the darks up around his back to make the back leg more evident, because, you know, it's just an open space. But I had a ball, and where is our color card deck? I'm going to jump in with the color card deck. One of the cool tools that we brought in that I fell in love with for working with this is I discovered I'm a little bit color challenged, but I also discovered a chunk of my friends are really color challenged. So asking them for advice as far as tones, you know, they were close, but what we brought in was this color card deck that covers both the hues and the tints of various things. So here's the card, and, you know, your color wheel hues, they're just wonderful. But the card itself one of the great properties is it's completely solid right down to the edges. So just like when you go to paint a house or anything else, you can put it in different lights and see how shadow affects it. With no print on here, it doesn't disrupt your eye as far as doing things. But like if I want to go buy more of Andrea's green fabric on her pants, I can find the matching color card and not take her entire, not tote the entire thing of fabric with me. But this also allowed me, so the back of the card, and actually let's see if we can do a zoom in on it. But here, each one covers the fact that it does the split complementary, what your complementary color is across from it. If you want to work in monochrome, the monochromatic colors, the analogous ones, and splitting complementary. So it's got all that data on the back and the instructions here on the hues and values. See if that's viewable as far as that goes. But anyway, it's a wonderful tool because I found that, in my case, I like I said, I love the jewel tones. I like bright colors, and I had the right colorway, but I didn't have the right intensity, and this solved some of those problems for me. So it's very cool. So that's that, and you used it as well, didn't you, on your
I used
giraffe?
it in my giraffe, yeah. I'll just use their card right here. I actually used the split complementary here, this part. I started with orange is what my color was, but if we started with yellow, we could do that. And I was able to pull out all of the complementary, the analogous colors that are right beside it. I pulled them all out of the card deck. Thank you. I pulled them all out of the card deck here, the colors that I needed, and then my pop of color. So I just took my color cards to my scrap box, and I was able to instantly pick out my colors. That matches, that matches, that matches. And it was super fast, super easy to pick out my colors. It was incredibly amazing. So the gal, Joanne Wolfram, is the designer of this set, and she is a world-renowned quiltist who is known for her color use and just the amazing color quilts that she makes. So just such a handy tool to have the chart at a glance, so you can see what color you want to start working with, and then go right to your card set from there. It's an amazing, cool new tool out on the market, and there's 200 cards in there.
Yep.
Okay.
So going back to my bear, once I got my colors done, I wanted to go ahead and stitch them all down, and one of my favorite products of all time has been this monopoly thread. And it's a clear thread. They do make it in a smoke if you need it for darker fabrics, but I've actually found if you look at the bear, you don't see any stitches. I started using this when I was doing Stitch in the Ditch, learning to do Stitch in the Ditch, and it made me nuts that I was having to rip out colors when I fell out of the ditch. So this was a great way, and I actually played with free motion quilting over the bear and the pieces of fabric, mostly just because I could, and I knew it wouldn't matter if I overdid or screwed up at all. And then I even had fun with the patterns on the outside, just I had stars in the background, so I thought it was really fun to I was going to do a star with the bear in the background, but I ended up kind of these triangles that I did an echo quilt. So that was really fun, but I'm real happy with how it turned out. And it was great learning. But the monopoly thread is just absolutely something you need in your toolkit, especially if there are tons of color changes. It makes life easier.
One other fun thing to know about the monopoly thread is that it is polyester. And many people ask, what do you use in the bobbin? For me, I just use some white 40 weight thread in the bottom or in the bobbin, but you can use the poly thread in your bobbin as well. So you get the clear on the top and the bottom. And inside your package, there's like a little sock inside of there that goes around your thread because it is made out of plastic and it will want to be one with the world and not the the bobbin itself, or the spool. So you want to put that sock on immediately after you get it. You'll use it in your machine with the sock, and you'll even store it with the sock on. So it doesn't want to unwind itself. Okay, so the reason why it is so nice to have polyester thread is because it is heat friendly. We used a lot of fusing and heat with our fusing, so we wanted to bring in a thread that was going to work with the heat, and this will. Okay. Alrighty then.
So just really quickly, and I'll be fast because I know we're running short on time. So on my Skyline, like Andrea said, I love using technology, and so I do have a luminaire and a scan and cut, and so I wanted to look at a different way of doing the Space Needle or the New York Skyline. So, for example, here, if you remember on the big diagram, the big layout of Seattle, they actually had cutouts for the Space Needles, different levels and such. Well, Andrea wasn't going to, nor would I want to take an X-Acto knife and cut out those pieces of fabric. So instead, I went, aha, I can do my Skyline and cut it out with my fabric on the scan and cut. So here, and one of the things I'm a big advocate of is test driving things. I'm far enough along in my sewing adventure that ripping is becoming less and less appealing. So pretty much I took the Skyline, I shrunk it down, and you'll notice my test strip was even smaller, and this has been traveling around for a couple of weeks, so some of it's looking a little raggy. The Statue of Liberty's head and torch has, I didn't have a big enough piece of fabric, so they went by the wayside, but hopefully you can see in terms of the detail that this just cut out all the little fine deals, and then I could just peel it off and stick it on whatever I was gonna, fabric to then quilt it. But this was a great way to test it, so I put mine down and then threw it in the scan and cut to do things. So another cool way to tackle this. So that's, I think, all the stuff.
Okay, we're going to talk about this little tiny one. We have 2 more things to talk about, I think, Iola.
Probably.
We're almost done. So the second to the last thing we were going to talk about are these little mini makes patchwork earring kits. Inside, you can see that it has all the little wooden parts and directions to make these really cool starburst earrings. This was my very first paper piecing project, and I was really excited to make it. I'm actually wearing some. I'm going to take it off so you can see it. Maybe if I can find the little end there. Oh, you can see it. You zoomed in on me. Okay, so it took me longer to pick out the little pieces of fabric than it did to make these. I figured I think I can finish that and start it and finish it in a day. And it really just took an afternoon to make these little earrings. It's basically just like a stitch and flip. You get the little system down, and then you glue it, paper and all, to the backing, and they are so lovely. And they're so light. That's the front. That's the back. I used some E6000 to glue all the little edges down. And now I have my own little wearable art that I can wear when I go out. And every time I wear these earrings, I get compliments on them. And there are many different ideas on the back of color schemes that you can do. You don't have to do a rainbow. You can do all different kinds of color. So that is our little mini makes earring kits. And then one more. You're going to be our Vanna?
I'm going to be your Vanna.
Awesome. So we'll bring this right down here. This is the art bin, the Super Satchel Thread Organizer. So I was telling Iola that I'm remodeling my house right now, and it's our master bedroom that we are remodeling. And so I moved from my master bedroom into my sewing room, and I had to pack up all my thread. And all my thread was hanging on these beautiful little pegs, like 6 different pegged holders all over the walls in my room. I have hardwood floors, 5 kids, and 3 cats. So you can can only imagine how dusty they were when I went to go take them off my walls. And so I wanted to bring this in because this is a much, much better way to permanently store your thread, not just temporarily, but permanently. But there are so many different options that how you can use these art bins. So these are such great quality. I really, really love them. Ooh, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. There are 2 trays inside and they are removable. How cool is that? So I have my really big a spool right here. But when I saw these, I envisioned my next embroidery project right here, how I can keep all my colors tidy and organized, and then it can sit right beside my machine right here, and they're not gonna roll off the counter. Isn't that so awesome? They have these little dents in here, and the threads actually lock in place. The little, what are these called? Trays? The little trays lock in place. And there's 3 different ways that you can lock them in place. And this way, I think I might use for some of them because these bulkier thread spools take up a lot of space on the little knobbins there. And so I will put like all my Aeroflox on one side and maybe my metallics on the other side. And someone was even asking about the bigger spools that are about twice the size of this. And so we grabbed one to see if it would work. And if you lay them down sideways and you toggle them back and forth like that, they totally fit perfectly in there. So there's many, many different ways that you can use these. But when I was traveling around with it, I actually put a bunch of my tools. I'm not sure if that's going to fit in there or not. Anyways, I put a bunch of things in this side, and you can put all kinds of things in there. So you can take these with you if you are going to do projects, project days, going to a class, all that. And you can hold it sideways and your threads don't go anywhere. They are awesome. And these are actually a couple of dollars less than the ones that I bought elsewhere. I bought serger cone ones, which I love, but these ones are cheaper through So Fun than they are on clearance at some of the other stores. So anyways, pick yourself up some today. I'm going to buy quite a few so I can put the rest of my thread in these satchels and keep them dust free and fade free from the sun. Okay, I think that's it.
I think it is, except for maybe prizes.
I think so.
Do we do prizes?
Yes, we do. We have 2 winners today. We're going to go back here. Let's go by your bear.
Let's go by my bear.
Let's go by your bear, because your bear is just so cool. We'll slide him back right there. Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in today for your June So Fun. Now, it'll come up on the screen here. Look down below. Please message me at andrea@qualitysewing.com and tell me, give me, like, if you're local, please tell me your local store and I will send your prize there. If you're from out of state, send me like your email and a good address that I can send your prize to. And that's it. Just let me know what your info is and I will send it out to you. So here are our 2 winners. Sharon.
So the first prize, might as well show, is a lovely, my favorite Amanda Murphy applique design.
It's an applique design for it. You can use it either as a tablecloth or a table runner or a wall hanging. It's really cool. It's a bunch of sewing notions. It's Sharon Kirry, Kirry. So please message me and I will send you your prize. And our second winner
gets a Cave reducing lens.
Cave reducing lens with its own little holder is Mary Ballard Clark. So thank you.
And congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Thank you for joining us today. Like I said, you get 20% off for this next full week until July 5th. We can't wait to see you next month and have a great 4th of July.
Bye.